Now at 7, the coronavirus emergency becoming a global pandemic.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States.
Travelers making last-minute decisions.
I want to go, but we can't.
I saw all these people like in mass hysteria, like crowding around the television.
Plus, the NBA season suspended.
This is people's lives at stake.
A player's diagnosis and his troubling ties to a local college.
Schools closed for cleaning and students packing their bags.
It just seems so overkill.
As health experts work on stopping the spread.
This is 7 News Today in New England.
First up, breaking news from overnight connected to the coronavirus emergency. The Boston Celtics players are being told to self-quarantine, according to reports. This is in response to the Utah Jazz player Rudy Gobert, who reportedly tested positive for the coronavirus. The Celtics played the Jazz last Friday at TD Garden. Emerson College also confirming that Jazz player practiced at their gym last week.
Also breaking overnight, the Dow predicted to fall more than 1,000 points at opening bell this morning. Stock futures plummeted after the president announced travel restrictions from European countries. And this morning, the State Department is advising Americans to reconsider traveling abroad now that the coronavirus has reached pandemic status. Good Thursday morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm Amaka Ubaka.
And I'm Chris Anderson. We have a lot to get to on these breaking stories, and we'll have that for you in just a moment. We do want to focus on your forecast real quickly and get an update on the weather situation. Live look outside this morning, and you can see there's still some sunshine out there, Chris, but it is seasonably cooler out there right now.
Yeah, and seasonably cooler means much cooler than what we had just a couple of days ago.
President Donald Trump is suspending travel now from many European countries to the United States.
The restrictions will begin tomorrow and last for 30 days. From the impact on schools and sports to the U.S. travel ban, our Team 7 coverage kicks off at Logan Airport, where Juliana Mazza is live this morning on more of the chaos at airports when the president announced those travel cancellations. Juliana.
Yeah, Namaka, that chaos ensuing because most Americans said they were unsure if they traveled to Europe, if they would be able to get back into the United States. That wasn't explicitly stated when President Trump addressed the nation last night, and that's what caused all that chaos at Logan Airport.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days.
President Trump addressing the nation and announcing sweeping new travel restrictions. He says all travel from Europe to the U.S. will be stopped for the next 30 days. But that's not necessarily accurate, and it's created a lot of confusion for travelers at Logan Airport.
It was on TV, and there wasn't actually any reports on it yet. So they're like, all right, this is your last chance. Either get off the plane or you're stuck on the plane. Get off the plane or you're stuck.
But now the government has since clarified the ban does not affect American citizens or their families returning to the U.S., nor does it affect permanent residents. What it does mean, though, is foreign nationals from more than 24 countries can now not travel to America. The ban, though, does not include travel from the U.K.
Well, we got the news that we weren't going to be able to fly back, so we just decided it wasn't worth it.
Passengers who were minutes from flying to Europe out of Boston turning around and getting off their flights.
After consulting with our top government health professionals, I have decided to take several strong but necessary actions to protect the health and well-being of all Americans.
Americans are still being asked not to travel to or reconsider the countries listed here. And all of these restrictions could have dire consequences for airlines and travel companies. So the Trump administration is weighing steps to provide financial relief.
So again, bottom line here is if you're an American and you're traveling to Europe, you can still come back to the United States. We'll have more on this story coming up in the next half hour of 7 News. Live outside Logan Airport this morning, Juliana Mazza, 7 News Today in New England.
And the U.S. seeing a major spike in coronavirus cases from February 10th to now. Take a look at your screen here, and you can see the number of confirmed infections going to the single digits to the triple digits in just a month's time. And happening today in New York, the New York National Guard is being deployed to New Rochelle. Schools and other large gathering places like temples and churches will be shut down until March 25th as the state works to contain a cluster of the coronavirus.
And the MBTA says says it's prepared to try and do its part to prevent the spread of coronavirus. MBTA officials hosted a demonstration last night showcasing the different cleaning methods that they're using by showing it on 4 different buses. The MBTA says it's now disinfecting all of its vehicles every single night, in addition to the regularly scheduled cleanings that they do on a routine basis.
And breaking overnight in the coronavirus, the Celtics and other teams being told to self-quarantine, according to reports, after coming in close contact with an infected player. Utah Jazz player Rudy Gobert, who appeared to mock the coronavirus earlier this week by touching all the microphones here from the media, now testing positive for the virus. And this morning, the NBA is implementing a hardwood hiatus, suspending the season for the foreseeable future to stop the spread. 7's John Coco was live outside TD Garden with all of the details for us. John.
Yeah, Amaka, and this means you won't see any Celtics games here at the Garden or anywhere else for that matter anytime soon. And when you talk about this major surprise, wait until you see Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban's reaction.
The game tonight has been postponed. You are all safe.
The NBA season abruptly suspended. Just before tip-off of last night's game between the Jazz and Thunder in Oklahoma City, players and officials were cleared off the court. Fans were asked to leave the building.
Take your time in leaving the arena tonight and do so in an orderly fashion. Thank you for coming out tonight.
This after a Utah Jazz player tested positive for the coronavirus. That player is believed to be center Rudy Gobert.
Now, that guy's not here tonight, Rudy Gobert. He's out with an illness.
The test result was reported just before the game. Gobert was not in the arena, although he was at Emerson College practicing with his team last week. He was also at the TD Garden this past Friday night when the Jazz played the Celtics. In a strange move on Monday, Gobert touched reporters' microphones and recorders as if to mock the league's revised media policy.
You could see right here the reaction from Mark Cuban.
Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban stunned after finding out about the league's decision.
This is something out of a movie, and you just don't expect it to happen in real life, but that's the randomness of the world we live in. And so it's stunning, but we are where we are, and we have to be smart in how we respond.
The never-shy Cuban explaining his concern.
This is people's lives at stake. This isn't about basketball. This isn't about the Mavericks. This isn't about, when do we start or do we start or how do we start. This is a pandemic, a global pandemic where people's lives are at stake.
The NBA's decision follows the NCAA, banning fans from the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament, better known as March Madness. President Mark Emmert says the only non-players permitted in the building are essential staff and limited family attendees.
And the NHL says they're still looking at their options and expect to have an update sometime today. We're live in Boston. John Coco, 7 News, Today New England.
The coronavirus hitting Hollywood as well. Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, both self-quarantining after being diagnosed with COVID-19. And Madeline Hunt's following these developments. She is in the newsroom with more. And Hanks making this announcement on social media.
Yeah, he made the announcement on social media, Chris. Oscar-winning actor Tom Hanks announced Wednesday that he and his wife, actress Rita Wilson, both have the virus. The couple currently in Australia at the moment, where Hanks was set to begin filming a movie next week. Both he and Wilson are 63 years old. Hanks releasing this statement, reading in part, quote, "We felt a bit tired, like we had colds and some body aches, slight fevers too. To play things right, we were tested for the coronavirus and were found to be positive. We will be tested, observed, and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. We'll keep the world posted and updated." Hanks' son, actor Colin Hanks, posting online that his parents are receiving excellent care in Australia and that they are in good spirits. Live in the newsroom, Madeline Hunt, 7 News Today in New England.
And right now, thousands of students across the Commonwealth moving out of their dorms. Colleges are canceling in-person classes, and students will have to learn from home. 7's Carrie Corrado is live in Boston. And Carrie, these precautions aren't just being done in higher learning. Local schools are also taking action.
That's right, Amaka. Now, school officials at the Elliott School in the North End, they are responding quickly after they found out that someone entered their school with coronavirus. So they are disinfecting the entire building and trying to find anyone that person may have come in contact with.
From elementary schools to colleges, the coronavirus is to blame for another school shutdown in Massachusetts. The Elliott School in the North End will be closing all its campuses until next Thursday. Mayor Walsh says a non-student member of the community, possibly a visitor, tested positive for the coronavirus. He says that person came into the lower building, which is grades K through 1. The mayor addressing the safety of other schools in Boston, calming any nerves.
I just want to be very clear. We do not have any concern in any of our schools at this moment. So we want people to know that this is right now we're talking about the Elliott School. To the Elliott School community, we're taking this issue very seriously. We're going to be working with our public health, as Chief Martinez talked about yesterday. We're going to be tracing back the interactions potentially that this person had with different people in the schools and all interaction they had.
In the meantime, colleges are taking extra measures to assure the safety of their students. UMass, Boston University, and Northeastern are the latest colleges moving to online learning in the wake of the coronavirus concerns. Thousands of students and faculty were told to stay home for the time being and resort to remote learning.
The universities have probably made the right call, because cutting all these students coming back, that cuts down Boston's population and is probably for the greater good.
At Harvard, students were packing up their dorms and heading home. The university was handing out complimentary cardboard boxes. Students there also told to move to online classes.
No, if you told me this last week, I probably would have laughed at you, but here we are.
And as for the person involved in the Elliott School in the North End, we are told that person is recovering at home, not in the hospital. That person's condition is unknown at this time. We're live in Boston this morning. Carrie Corrado, 7 News, Today New England.
So we want to let you know where you can get answers about the coronavirus. Obviously, a lot of you out there have concerns, and the city of Boston says anyone living within the city limits can call 311 with questions. And the Attorney General says that her office will help anyone facing problems with missing work if they are quarantined. You can also call the Fair Labor Hotline at 617-727-3465. Now, state leaders are referring people to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health website for more information. Of course, if that changes, we will bring it to you.
Yeah, and that's what we're working for, is to try and keep you informed with all the information that we're getting and passing it on to you. There's so much more still ahead here on the news station this morning.
Stay with us on 7 News at 7.
Don't go anywhere. Ahead at 7, flames tearing through this home in Lynn and start spreading.
Another dry day today with some cooler air before more wet weather works into the end of the week.
Police catch up to an animal that's been on the move for months.
And coming up at 7:30, we're getting answers and clearing up confusion.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe.
It's either get off the plane or you're stuck on the plane.
Schools shut down. Big games canceled.
Take your time in leaving the arena tonight and do so in an orderly fashion.
As the city sanitizes to stop the spread of the coronavirus emergency.
Not a lot of company out on the roadways this morning. A live look at the Pike. If you have to head into the city today, I'll tell you how quick your commute will be coming up.